I'm not sure this is the most powerful budget gaming PC I've ever built, but I do think it's one of the best value setups you can put together for around 200 bucks. With this build, you can absolutely play at 1440p with sensible settings, even in AAA game. And honestly, building a gaming PC right now is expensive. RAM prices are way up. GPUs cost a fortune. So if you're working with a limited budget, but you still want a PC that actually makes sense, in this video I'm going to show you how I'd build a solid little gaming rig for 2026. Now, at around $200, the smartest move is going used. And the first thing we need is a good base system. If you jump on eBay, you'll see a ton of office PCs listed, some cheap, some way overpriced, because companies are constantly cycling these machines out. So we're going to take advantage of that. Grab one of those office desktops as the foundation and build up from there. You'll see Dell Optiplex systems everywhere on the used market, and they come in a bunch of different versions, like the SFF models and the mini towers. The thing with the SFF units is they're super compact, and that means the inside is tight. Upgrades get limited really fast, especially when it comes to the GPU. So if you want an easier build and more graphics card options, I'd definitely prioritize the mini tower. And if you're not into Dell or Optiplex, that's totally fine. HP and Lenovo have very similar systems that work great as a base. In my case, I grabbed a HP ProDesk 400G4 for 72 bucks. This one came with an i7 716 gigs of RAM, and honestly, 16 gigabytes is still enough for most games right now. Now, the specs are solid for the price. But the outside, yeah, it's rough. Lots of scratches, and I even saw a little bit of surface rust in a couple spots. But for a little over $70, I'm not expecting perfection. So let's pop the side panel off and see what we're working with inside. First up, RAM. We've got two sticks running in dual channel, 8 gigs per stick, and dual channel makes a noticeable difference in gaming performance. Down below, we've got a 180 watt power supply, and yeah, that's going to limit what we can do for the GPU. But since this is a $200 build, I really don't want to spend extra money on a power supply upgrade. So the plan is to stick with GPUs that don't need external power and stay within a safe power budget. This system is on LGA 1151 with an H270 chipset. And the big thing I'm looking for is that PCIe X16 slot for a dedicated GPU. One downside with the particular unit I've got here, it doesn't support an M.2N VMe drive. So if you're stuck with an old hard drive or a basic SSD, load times can definitely take a hit. So to fix that, I'm adding a 2.5-inch SATA SSD. I'm using a 256 gigabyte Samsung drive I picked up on eBay for 15 bucks. All right, now let's plug it in and see if it actually boots. Oh, nope. We're getting a beep code. At first, I'm thinking it might just be RAM not making good contact. So I pull the RAM, clean the slots, and reseat everything. Then I try booting with just one stick, still beeping. And I'm not kidding, the beep beep is loud. It's filling the whole room, so I swap RAM slots. Then I swap to the other stick, same result. Nothing changes. That's when I start checking the motherboard more closely, and I move over to the front panel wiring. And sure enough, one of the front panel leads, PWR-CMD, wasn't plugged in correctly. This is the power command signal. It doesn't supply power directly. It basically tells the power supply, okay, turn on, so the system can actually start. My guess is it got knocked loose during shipping, or it popped out when I opened the case earlier. So I plug it back in, power it on again, and boom. We've got a display. The system boots up. Now for the GPU. For this build, I'm going NVIDIA. Drivers are solid. Compatibility is usually great. And most importantly, there are a lot of GPUs that don't need external PCIe power. That's perfect for low wattage systems like this. For 1440p gaming, my original plan was an RTX 3060, or even a 3070. But with a 180 watt power supply, that's just not realistic. On top of that, the i7-7700 is basically a mid-range CPU by today's standards. So even if I forced a 3060 or 3070 into this build, in some games, especially esports titles or anything where you're chasing high FPS, you're not going to fully use that card anyway. So I narrowed it down to GPUs that don't need a power connector. And it came down to two: the GTX 16504GB or the RTX 3050. To get the better performance, I went with an RTX 30506GB, this colorful model, and I picked it up on eBay for $145. Now, the 3050 also comes in an 8GB version, but depending on the model, some of those can require external power. The 6GB card I chose is the lower power version. On paper, it tops out at around 75 watts, straight from the PCIe slot. That said, 180 watts is still pretty tight. So I'm going to stress test this thing before I call it stable. Now let's get it installed. The card fits perfectly in the case, nice and clean. And I'm also putting the second RAM stick back in, so we're running the full 16GB in dual channel. Alright, cost breakdown. $72 for the base system, $15 for the 256GB SSD, $145 for the GPU. So all in, we're right around $232 for the whole build. Next up, we'll run some real gaming benchmarks and see what this thing can actually do for the money. Alright, first up, Cyberpunk 2077. I'm testing at 1440p, low settings, and I'm seeing right around 90 FPS. The GPU is basically pinned at close to 100% most of the time, which tells me this run is GPU limited at 1440p. The good news is, the experience feels pretty stable. While actually playing, I'm not seeing weird hitching or random frame drops. So overall, if you're just trying to play for fun, and you care more about smoothness than maxed out visuals, this setup still holds up. Next up, Valorant. 1440p again, but this time I'm on high settings. FPS is hovering around 170 to 190, and I'm seeing spikes over 200. And since Valorant is a lighter esports title, the CPU is sitting around 60% usage. Everything feels snappy. Input response is quick. No real issues to complain about. Now moving on to The Witcher 3, I'm running 1440p, low settings, and performance is in that 80 to 90 FPS range. Just like Cyberpunk, the RTX 3050 is basically at 100% usage most of the time. So once again, this is mostly GPU limited. But even then, gameplay feels consistent. No major stutters, no strange dips, just a solid playable experience. Now for Tomb Raider, I'm still at 1440p, low settings, and FPS is basically always above 150. In lighter scenes, where there aren't a ton of effects, it can even push past 200, so overall it feels really smooth. Input response is quick, and I'm not seeing any major frame drops. And finally, Minecraft. I'm testing at 1440p with a 20 chunk render distance. Most of the time I'm sitting around 180 frames per second. If I fly up high and the game has to load and draw a lot more of the world, it drops to around 120. And if I start doing something crazy, like blowing up a bunch of TNT at once, yeah, it can dip hard. I saw it drop to around 50, but the nice part is it recovers pretty quickly and goes back to normal once the chaos is over. Next, I turned shaders on, and once I did that, both the CPU and the GPU would spike up close to 100% at times. FPS dropped hard, down to a little over 40. So yeah, on this setup, shaders are easily the most demanding part of the Minecraft test. For around $200, this build does more than it should. It handles 1440p, better than I expected, and the 180 watt power supply never gave me a problem. If you're trying to game on a budget, this is a setup worth considering. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, share it, and subscribe to the channel.